guys, and welcome back to the podcast. This is Paint the Town Dead, and I am one half of your host, Caitlin.
And I'm Andrew.
Hello, Andrew.
How about that football?
Football.
Did you watch the football?
What do you think?
I assume you watched it, and your mind was also blown by watching the Chiefs-Bills game.
Yeah. Hey,
Can you believe it?
My best friend, Alyssa, and her husband and his family, they do love the Chiefs. So was it good news for them?
It was good news for them, bad news for me, but good news for those who are also like, I just want to watch a thing that's exciting.
Oh, was it exciting?
It was very exciting. Legitimately one of the most exciting football games of all time.
Why?
Because the Bills scored with like 2 minutes left. Then the Chiefs scored with a minute left. Then the Bills scored, and there was 13 seconds left. And then the Chiefs scored with there being 13 seconds left. And it went to overtime, and the Chiefs scored. Wow. That's why it was exciting.
That's pretty intense.
The Bills scored 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes and still lost. Which is wild. It was crazy.
That is crazy. That's an evenly matched team right there.
Yeah, that was whoever won that game, it was pretty much, I think most people are thinking like, that's your Super Bowl champion most likely. But we'll see. Things can change. The Bengals beat the Chiefs earlier in the season, and they're about to play. So
Bengals, have they ever been to the Super Bowl?
Back in the 80s, early 80s, they went twice before we were born.
Yes.
They actually, this year, they've won 2 playoff games, which is more playoff games than they won in the 90s.
Oh.
And the 2000s and the 2010s combined.
That's what I was like, I've never heard anything about them.
They've been terrible for a long time.
Where are they based out of?
Cincinnati.
Okay.
It had been, I think, 29 seasons since they won a playoff game.
That's really bad.
It is really bad. But they got a really good quarterback, but we'll see. Joe Burrow.
Joe Biden. Very good.
Sure. Some people might think that.
Oh.
It could be worse.
Well, Andrew, enough football, please, dear God. I'm just kidding. I know you like it.
We're going to talk about something more exciting for both of us.
Oh, really?
The death of human beings.
Oh, well, that's
the concept of the show.
It's kind of what we based our title off of. It's a play on words.
If you don't want to hear about people dying, honestly, listen to something else. I don't know what to tell you.
Usually, I think, how many episodes? 2 episodes?
Something
don't
like
include
that.
People dying. Still not great things happening, but.
And I think, I'm going to say it might even be just like one. And one of them is like the main person didn't die, but they almost died, but then somebody killed themselves. So we still got death in there.
Yes.
So it might just be one. I'm not sure.
I think you're right.
But that's
basically what we talk about.
It's like, don't watch RoboCop if you don't want to see a man be shot into pieces.
I mean, that makes sense.
But also watch RoboCop. It's one of the best movies.
Okay. In that vein, listen to us. We're one of the best podcasts.
That's right.
That's a bit hubris.
According to my rankings, my personal rankings of podcasts that I have been on, this is the best one. Undeniable.
It literally is.
It's impossible for it to not be. So anyway, we're going to talk about William Harvey Bruce today. He went by Harv. This is a new one. Don't worry about it. You haven't seen it.
I was going to say, I don't recognize that name. Was that on the list?
Nope.
For those that don't know, we have a running list of show topic ideas.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, we talk about stuff in Arkansas.
Yes, these are all
Arkansas crime cases.
Arkansas or Arkansas adjacent enough that it's fine.
A connection to Arkansas.
Yeah. This will take place in Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it is all generally murders and death and horrible things.
Yeah.
Every time I go to do an episode, I have like that Netflix problem of being like paralyzed by choice, paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
And it's like,
me too.
Okay, I could do that. And then you start looking at other stuff and you end up finding more things and you add those to the list.
That's exactly what happens.
That ends up being the one you do.
Yes, exactly.
Even though you already have like 25,000 different things you could do something on, but you just don't because your brain just doesn't want to. I don't know.
I will say this. We'll get into it in just a second. We do have some wonderful people that reach out to us and make some suggestions for shows. And they're, I love that people do that. And I like hearing about it and knowing that person's connection. And I really appreciate they reach out. But sometimes there's just not enough to make a whole show about, whether they're cut and dry cases or there's just not any information out there on it. But keep them coming. We love it. And, one of these days we may do a show where we cover a bunch that only take 5 minutes to cover because there's just not much information about it.
And perhaps more information will come out about them. For instance,
yeah.
We did a 2-parter on Red Hall, and initially I wasn't doing that one because there wasn't enough good information out until Janie Jones wrote that book.
Man,
and I was like,
best.
Hooray, I have information now.
She's so
Too
good.
much almost.
She's just the best. We really like her.
So,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, William Harvey Bruce. He went by Harv. We'll mostly call him Bruce, just by his last name, because that's easier. Because he was born June 23rd of 1847 to William and Sarah Bruce.
Oh, this is...
So he has like the same name.
This is Andrew's favorite. We're going back in time.
That's right. Back when you couldn't solve problems with cell phones. That's why all movies in the future, they're all going to take place in the past before cell phones, because it solves too many problems.
Yeah.
So he was born in Georgia.
Hey, I've been there.
They lived there for a while, moved to Alabama. They moved to Winston County, Alabama. I looked it up. I don't recognize any of those towns.
Okay.
It's a real country area because they worked as farmers there. Then you have this thing called the American Civil War happen.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you've heard of it.
I have. I'm familiar.
So the elder, William Bruce, the father, he went and joined up with the Confederate Army.
Yeah.
He's from Alabama and Georgia.
Kind of had to.
What'd you expect?
Yeah.
Maybe it was even conscripted. I don't know.
Yeah. Does that mean drafted?
Yes.
Okay. Why did they call it conscripted back then versus drafted now?
I think it's because they probably didn't have a draft. They just went and grabbed you and said, hey, you got to come.
Okay.
In fact, I'm pretty sure my uncle tells a story, I think, of some of our ancestors who, like, the Confederates came by and were like, you're in the war now. Like, do we have to? It's like, yes, or we'll shoot you. Okay,
well,
cool.
Here I go.
That's how you get soldiers for a war. You force them, because nobody actually wants to fight in a war.
No.
I mean, I say nobody. There's like 5 people in the world who actually do want to. So yeah, there's that leaves the family without their main source of finances, the father, because you know how men, they're the breadwinners all times, still to this day. Can you believe that?
No, I genuinely cannot.
It's because it's not true. Feminism ruined everything.
You just want to get hurt.
It's because I know I can take you. You're one of the few people I know I could take.
Would you really hit me back right now? I am an injured person.
I mean, if it came down to like throwing bows and I had to defend myself, yeah, I'm targeting people I could take on.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. I egg on like other friends who are like taller and stronger than me, so it's fine. But I'm just trying to get punched one day, you know. So they, without their financial support, they moved close to some relatives in North Carolina, which is that's a state. I don't know if you know that.
I'm familiar.
There's only a North and a South Carolina, no East or West.
Also familiar with that.
2 years into the war, at the age of 16, the younger William Harvey Bruce, Harv, joined up with the Confederates as well.
16, a baby.
16, yep. He served under Colonel William Holland Thomas's D Company, and they were one of the few regiments, this is just a fun fact, they had both white and Cherokee soldiers.
Interesting. Oh, that kind of sucks. It's like, I don't give a 2 hoots about your Civil War. You came in here and messed everything up for us.
Well, the natives, a lot of Native Americans fought with the Confederates because they were made promises.
Yeah.
And also they had already been screwed over by the United States.
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
anything we can do to...
maybe this will work out, because it certainly isn't working out with the Union.
That really is a bummer.
And I doubt it would have worked out very well, honestly, if the Confederacy had won.
Yeah, no.
But who knows?
Don't think so, since it's, racist and everything. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, they were trying to create a white ethno-state and all that.
Yeah.
So he fought mostly in North Carolina, and he actually gained a reputation as a great shot, like a crack shot with a rifle, because he grew up with firearms and all that.
It's impressive considering guns were terrible back then.
And yet he was good with them.
Yeah.
It took real talent. It wasn't like...
He's like, I know that if I aim directly on, it's going to be off. So I know I have to aim approximately 2 inches to the right and down an inch for it to be on target.
Well, and you do practice shots, and you move your sights around and all that stuff.
Did they have sights?
Yeah, you had sights. They were like the iron sights. You didn't have like holographic sights like you do in Call of Duty 4 or whatever.
I'm not talking about video games.
I know. I'm just saying they did have sights, but not like... I think the Civil War is when they first had like magnifying scopes, like you'd see on like a sniper rifle in a video game.
Okay.
Like similar stuff to that.
Interesting.
But I'm pretty sure those are very rare at this point.
Gotcha.
So he served until the end of the war, and he makes it through.
Wow.
No deaths for him.
Wow.
He didn't die.
Not once.
He didn't die a single time in that war. Afterwards, in 1871, he married a woman named Hannah Cotter, and they moved to Archie Valley Township, which is in Van Buren County.
I've never heard of that.
It's called, when something's called something township, that usually means like it's barely a town.
Yeah.
It's more like an isolated village or something.
Is it still a thing today?
Like something being called township?
No. Is Archie Valley, is that still a thing
I don't
today?
know. But it's in Van Buren County, which is
not like Fort Smith?
No, it's not where Van Buren is. This is an annoying thing about Arkansas. Nothing is where it should be as far as the county cities matching up. It's where Clinton is.
Okay. It's kind of
it's like it's north of
central-ish. Yeah.
It's kind of near Russellville-ish area, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
I think those counties overlap or border each other.
Okay.
A year later, 1872, they had their first child. They moved to a different township called Wheeler Township, which is in Van Buren County still.
Okay.
It is not Wheeler, which is in... There's also a Wheeler in Washington County, which is where Fayetteville is.
Whoa.
It's not that one.
Okay.
It's a different one.
Gotcha.
I looked it up on Google, and it was very hard to find it because it kept wanting me to go to every other Wheeler other than this one.
You're like, no, I know which one I want.
It's in Van Buren County, dadgummit. And I know where that is already because I looked it up. So they had a farm there on 160 acres.
Wow.
And problem was, it's like kind of a mountainy area, you know?
Oh,
so
yeah.
the soil is real garbage.
Gotcha.
But they grew corn there. And
speaking of which,
yeah,
just a little fact. You know me. When I think of it, I have to say it or I'll forget. I was watching a TikTok the other day, and this girl was traveling. She was getting a jaw surgery somewhere. But anyway, she drove through the entirety of Arkansas, and she was like, "I've seen a lot of rice fields. Is rice? Do Arkansans grow rice?" I was like, "That's all we grow, and soybeans."
We're one of the top 2 or 3 rice producers in the state or in the country, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
I want to say it's like us in like Mississippi or something. I don't remember though.
We do rice here, rice and soybeans.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
I think we do some corn. I think the corn that's grown in Poinsett is the corn used to make the vodka at Rocktown.
Yes.
Anyway, speaking of which, he was a moonshiner, and he used the corn to make it because corn didn't sell for crap. At least like at the level he was producing it at.
Gotcha.
And the moonshine would sell for way more than the corn by itself, right? So
yeah,
make way more money doing that.
Way more. And you can make moonshine out of anything.
It sure seems like it. I remember seeing something about vodka where it's like, you can make it out of potatoes, you can make it out of corn, you can make it out of used fuel. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
That's madness. I think Russians did that. They're crazy people.
Russians. Ugh.
Yeah. You dang Russians.
Silly Russians.
Please don't invade the Ukraine.
Oh, no. Is that an issue right now?
Yeah.
They're
like, the Russians are like, I can't believe all these tensions at the Ukrainian border where we put all of our troops. I guess we had to put all of our troops here because of all this tension we caused. Anyway.
Oh, no.
You know how authoritarians do.
Yeah, you know.
So, anyway, moving on from Russia, which is a very strange and interesting place.
Yeah.
Our boy Harv, he was pretty close with the authorities despite being a moonshiner.
Oh, did they know he was a moonshiner?
I think some. I mean, I think it's like one of those open secret type deals.
Gotcha. Don't ask.
You know how the old days were. But he served as a sheriff's deputy as well.
Very cool.
In the county.
All right.
And he was partnered mainly with his neighbor, Turner Skidmore, which is
what a name.
Don't care for that name.
What a name.
I don't know. It just makes me think of skid marks.
Yeah.
And I was like,
not a big fan.
Would not be an issue, I guess, back then. That wouldn't be a thing they would have called it, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So, anyway.
1897.
At this time, the tensions between the authorities and moonshiners are a little heightened more than normal. The authorities are like, we're going to stop these daggum moonshiners trying to make illicit booze. How dare you? So they got a search party together and went looking for our boy Harv. And
even though he was a deputy?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But he's also a moonshiner.
Yep.
And a friend of his, not a very good friend, you'll find out, agreed to show them to his home in exchange for $10.
Wow. $10 whole.
And I think that's when we were still the gold standard, so every dollar was worth 1 brick of gold or whatever.
What year was this?
1897.
Okay.
I don't know if the inflation calculator goes back that far.
It does.
Okay. I remember there was like a cutoff for it.
One of them does.
Okay.
Anyway.
So he got $10 for that. When they get to his home, he's not there. Just his wife and kids. And so the wife, Hannah, she sends out one of the daughters out to find Bruce, Harvey Bruce, our boy. And when he heard what was happening, he and Tom Skidmore decided to just hide out in the woods. And the authorities are like, well, if you don't come out, we'll arrest this child for working with you like this.
What?
Yeah.
By the way, $335. That ain't much.
No, not really.
$10 in 1897.
I need more to sell out my friends.
Exactly. I need at least 10,000.
I need at least 3 zeros on there.
Exactly. Okay. Anyway,
like every man has a price, as Ted DiBiase said. And when he heard what was happening, Harv and Skidmore, they're hiding out in the woods, and they're obviously very upset that they're like, we're going to arrest your kid, because
makes sense,
which is a bit much. So Harv's brother went out to meet him in the woods in an effort to kind of de-escalate things. Mm-hmm. And, obviously he's very unhappy about this situation. He's potentially being arrested, and they're threatening to arrest his small child.
Yeah.
And so he agrees to meet privately with one of the officers there. And they're unable to come to an agreement for him to stand down. There's no gunfire or anything. The officers leave for a bit.
Wow, that's nice.
And so Harv and Skidmore, they dismantled the distillery that they had together. Uh-huh. Like took it apart out in the woods and went and fled to a different moonshine place. Hung out with some other moonshine guys they were friends with, Alva Church and Dave Millsap. And the next morning, the deputies come back to Harv's house, and they're like, he's not here. Well, his distillery is still here, what's left of it, and so they burned that.
Oh, wow.
Which I'm sure went up real
Kaboom.
Good. Yeah, that was probably like I don't know, like when you're setting off fireworks and you run for cover. Like, let's go. So the authorities regroup, and they actually go and recruit a couple of U.S. Marshals to come help them. They get Benjamin F. Taylor, who is from Searcy County, which is not where Searcy is, because, again, Arkansas.
Because Arkansas.
Searcy is in White County. Uh-huh. I forget what's in Searcy County. He's 57 years old, formerly served as a state senator, and became a deputy in 1895. And we've got Joe Dodson, who is 28 and from Stone County. And then we've got, so they go, they talk to Tom Barnes, the friend who got the $10. And he's like, hey, I know where he's at. He's at Millsap's house.
Hey, he told me where he's going.
Worst friend ever.
That is a bad friend.
Man, don't tell Tom Barnes nothing. He's going to sell you out in a minute.
No kidding.
Like, when Ted DiBiase is coming to buy you off, he's like, he's the $1 million man. He's going to give you a lot of money. Way more money than these coppers are going to give Tom Barnes. Tom Barnes will do it for nothing.
That's right.
It's like...
just give me $10. It's fine.
It's like...
what you got on you? $10? Okay.
That episode of The Office where Creed goes and like does the throat-slitting motion to Andy, and he's like, Darnell gave me $10 or whatever. I would have done it for free.
Joke's on him. I would have done it for free.
He's a sucker.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like if you're like trying to get somebody... I feel like Tom Barnes, they didn't need to give him $10. They could have been like, here's $1.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Check this out. So the authorities go and stake out the area. They're watching what they're doing, recording the daily routine of these moonshiners. And August 29th, 1897, they decide to make their move. They go in towards Harv Bruce and Alva Church, who are both outside sitting on a fence. And what's funny about that? Just a couple of boys sitting on a fence.
Sitting on a fence, picking my banjo.
They might have been.
Maybe. I don't know.
It is kind of a hilly part of Arkansas.
That's right.
Why wouldn't you be? I'm just imagining like the human version. the human version of the possum mascot for the Arkansas Travelers with the overalls and one of them's undone. Yeah. That's kind of like in my brain.
Of course, that's Arkansas.
That's what you think of for hillbillies. You know?
The Travelers are a minor league baseball team in Arkansas for those.
They're named after a song called The Arkansas Traveler, which was about how much Arkansas sucks.
Which, and that's why we have a possum dressed like an old-timey hillbilly.
And I have a hat with him on it, and it's great.
John's a big fan. Fiance John.
It's a good hat.
He's a big fan of the Arkansas Travelers.
They restored my faith in baseball.
Their stadium's they got a new stadium some odd years ago.
Over 10 years ago now.
10 years ago. It's quite nice.
It's awesome.
It's fun.
Right by the river.
They used to do a lot of fun activities before COVID.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Anyway, let's get back to the story.
So, what happens next is debated. There's always two sides to every story. Yeah. Sometimes even more than two. We're only going to work with two here.
Okay.
According to our boy Harvey Bruce, the moonshiner, he says the marshals approached and immediately began firing at him. Just started going, it's
wailing.
Yeah, it's the Danny DeVito meme, and then I just started blasting or whatever.
Danny DeVito meme.
Yeah, it's a Danny DeVito meme where he's holding two guns and he just says, so then I started blasting. That's what it is. He says the marshals just came in and started blasting at him.
Just going.
They gave no warning, no identification. So he thought he was being attacked by like a rival gang of moonshiners, according to him.
Okay.
And his boy Alva Church, he's gone. He's just like, no questions asked, I'm out. And he runs and he gets away.
Even though it's his property that they're on?
It's Millsap's property. But,
okay.
But still, I mean, people start shooting. My first instinct is, I'm out.
I don't care.
See you.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
But Bruce, who we will recall is a crack shot.
Yeah.
He hunkers down, takes a rifle, fires back, shoots Joe Dodson, one of the marshals, right in the head.
Oh, no.
Then shoots Benjamin Taylor, the other marshal, and kills them both.
That's a really bad thing.
And in addition, he injured two of the local officers who were there as well. He shot one through the arm because his elbow was exposed while he was hiding behind a tree. Oh. And then another one was on the ground, like on his belly, like trying to like make yourself small.
Yeah.
And got shot through the hip. And those two guys live, but the two marshals, dead. Killed them both instantly.
Whoa.
And he would get shot through the leg, Harv would, but he would still escape.
That's pretty impressive for 1897.
Yeah, he was a crack shot. They said so. The marshals... Their story is that they went up there and got ambushed and were fired upon suddenly. Not the marshals.
I'll say they're dead.
The people left.
Okay.
We'll say.
They said what now?
Essentially that they were the ones who were ambushed. Like they went up there and they got fired at first.
Tit versus tat. Like who's telling the truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other three moonshiners who were on that property eventually were caught, including Alva Church, the one who just sprinted away.
Goodbye.
They're all caught. Like within a few weeks. Whereas Bruce, he gets away for a bit. He goes to Alabama, and the marshals put out a $450 reward for him.
All right, gonna look up that.
Don't use $450 yet.
Okay.
Because there were also additional private rewards set up by the families, and it all totaled up to $1,000.
So $1,000. $1,000,
1897.
Okay, let's see.
But he doesn't stay in Alabama long. Like he makes trips back and forth to Arkansas.
It's pretty substantial. $33,590.
See, if I were Tom, I would have done it for that.
Yeah, that's a better amount.
But yeah, he comes back to Arkansas some from Alabama to visit family. I assume to be like, here's a little bit of money because I'm the moneymaker here, and some stuff's happened.
Yeah.
It's a little hard right now, I'm sure. But he's eventually spotted by a neighbor named J.W. Gist, a different neighbor, not the $10 man.
Oh.
This is, and Gist sees him. This is in October of 1898.
Okay.
So roughly a year later. It's a new year. And that night, Gist bursts into the Bruce home, just bam, pops in. And fortunately, Bruce's rifle is laid up by the door. So he grabs that and it's like, ha, you have no guns. And so Gist and his son are there and they take Harv away and hand him over to the authorities so they can get that $1,000.
Pretty good money.
And supposedly there's like family lore that Harv told the guy to take him in so he could get the money, like on purpose.
Oh,
and he'd be like, and just share some of it for my lawyer fees.
Gotcha.
Supposedly. That one, there's obviously a long time ago, there's not going to be much of a record of that one.
Right.
It's family lore, as it's called in one of the articles.
Gotcha.
And our boy, Harv, is charged with illicit distilling and sentenced to 3 years in prison at Fort Leavenworth in Kansas.
What about the murders?
I'll get to it in just a second.
Okay.
You may have heard of Fort Leavenworth.
Yes.
From our Frank Jelly Nash episode.
Yes.
Where he was held there and got away.
A bunch.
He got away because they let him leave. Essentially. They were like, he became like the warden's handyman and is like, run this errand for me. And he's like, all right, bye. And just left forever.
You got it. You got it.
It was so dumb. That's episode 45 if y'all want to listen to that. I recommend it, I guess. I don't know. I always think I'm terrible at this, and hopefully I'm not. But I think if you want to listen...
If you think we're terrible at it, then just don't listen, okay?
But if you've heard this far and you're like, this is okay, I'd like to hear more, episode 45 is where you can hear more about Fort Leavenworth a little bit.
Yeah.
His moonshine partners, they were also there.
Oh, okay.
And so, that one guy...
The old gang all back together.
That guy, Frank Jelly Nash, he escaped from Leavenworth and helped other people escape later.
Yeah.
Will these guys escape?
I don't know. You tell me.
Nah, they don't.
Oh, okay.
They hadn't, jail escape technique hadn't evolved yet because this is 1890s. Jelly was like the 1930s.
He was advanced escaping.
Yeah, he had like all of the previous technique to build upon, such as you earn their trust and they just let you leave and trust you to come back on your own. Man.
It's legit.
So, doing those 3 years in Kansas, Pope County, which is where the district court is, it's in Russellville.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if the district court's in Russellville, but Russellville is in Pope County.
Yeah.
They wanted to bring Harv back so they could try him for the murders of these two marshals.
Yes.
But illicit distilling is classified as a federal crime, and the feds are like, no, he has to finish doing that first. He's got to finish out those 3 years.
Uh-huh.
So, eventually, they get President William McKinley. He grants the moonshiners a presidential pardon.
But what about the mortar?
To end their sentences early, so they can then be tried for the murders early.
Okay. He was like, I got you. Not.
And his trial begins in the fall of 1899 for the murders. They evaluated over 150 witnesses. Harvey Bruce, he claimed self-defense.
How are there 150 witnesses when there was just like less than 10 people?
Oh, I know, right? I guess, well, you can bring in all kinds of witnesses for all kinds of things, I guess.
That's true.
And Harv is going to be found guilty of manslaughter.
Well, that makes sense.
Instead of murder.
That makes sense.
And he's sentenced to 6 months.
I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense. You lost me.
He's sentenced to 6 months in jail for killing 2 people, whereas he was sentenced for 3 years for moonshining.
And McKinley's like, why did I even bother? God.
By this point, he's probably moved on to other issues, I'm sure.
That's
like
true. Yeah.
naming mountains after himself. He didn't do that, but we named a mountain after him.
Very important business.
I mean, hey, that's more important. That's his real legacy.
Genuinely.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Because I really don't know much about President McKinley.
I know nothing.
I know there's a mountain in Alaska named after him.
I didn't even know that.
Well.
Now I do.
Yeah, there you go. There's speculation on why it was only 6 months.
Yeah, that seems crazy. Especially since it was a law person.
To federal law enforcement.
And that's a state that would be tried on a state level?
I guess so.
Maybe now it wouldn't be. Now it would be a federal thing.
You wouldn't think so.
Huh, okay.
There is some thought that perhaps the judge saw Harv's time in Kansas as time served, and that's why he only did 6 months.
3 years? Less than 3 years?
Less than 3 years. Also, there's the thought that like the jury saw Harv's reaction to the marshals coming up upon him as reasonable, because the marshals were known for just jumping up at people and not telling people who they were, and being like, hey, we got you. And so he was like, the idea that he would think he's being set upon by a gang or something, that he's going to get murdered, is reasonable.
Yeah.
And so that's why he only got the manslaughter in 6 months.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It wasn't like premeditated or anything.
Right. So they have there's an appeal for this, as always. He posts bond and goes back home, where he gets arrested for illicit distilling again.
Shut up, dude. No.
Yeah.
Come on.
At least go somewhere else where they don't know you before you do that. I don't know. But first, he's got to do his manslaughter time, which he's going to do in Little Rock at the state penitentiary there.
It's not there anymore, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You never hear about it.
No.
It's probably like Cummins Unit and Varner or whatever.
Yeah.
So he goes to Little Rock for prison, known for having some pretty good behavior while in prison. And he has like such a, reputation for being a great shot. The warden made him a guard.
What?
Because
these people.
This is back when they kept doing the thing where they're like, let's make prisoners guards.
Let me put you in a place, in a situation where it only works to your advantage to leave. Like, anyway.
Well, I think they were pretty strict about him not being able to take errands for them outside the prison, like what happened with Jelly. Which is just wild.
People, come on.
It's going to be a while before we learn our lesson about making prisoners guards. Because they were also they would be horrible to people all the time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he was well liked by the warden. The warden thought he was a cool guy. He could shoot a rifle real well. And after 4 months in prison,
shut up,
he gets pardoned by the governor.
4 months for killing 2 people.
And then after that, he had to go stand trial for the other illicit distilling charge, and got charged with, or received 3 years at Fort Leavenworth again. And yes, exactly 3 years in the same place again. This time, though, he serves out the full sentence.
Oh, wow.
And he got to return home in November of 1983, or 1983.
1983?
Man. 1903.
Okay.
Goodness gracious. And he would die March 26, 1907, age of 59. And that is our story about William Harvey Bruce, the man who did more time for moonshining than murder.
That's crazy. Wow.
Can you believe that?
No.
Isn't that wild?
4 months for killing 2 people. That's pretty mind-blowing.
And he got to be a guard.
He got pardoned twice, and he got to be a guard. Wait, so he didn't live too much longer after he...
No.
Wonder what happened. Did it say?
No, it didn't say.
You know I like things like that.
He only lived 4 more years. He was only 59.
That's pretty young.
Yeah, even back then, I think... Because when we talk about like life expectancy and how it used to be like 35 years old or whatever,
yeah,
a lot of that is because of how many people died when they were children.
Yes.
Because but if you get to like this point in your life, you're probably good to live for a while.
For a little bit longer. That's still fairly young.
Yeah, that even then, that's sort of young in a way.
Good story, Andrew.
Thank you. I liked it. I thought it was kind of interesting.
You do like those kind of old timey stories.
Yeah, they're just so weird.
They are.
Society was different back then. Crazy. I find that interesting. Especially back when people would just escape jail all the time for no reason.
Yeah.
I'm still like the one where he pretended to have smallpox is the best one.
That is. He poked
himself with a needle all over and then used like some kind of soap and it gave him like bumps all over. Yeah. And so they're like, oh no, he has smallpox. We got to isolate him.
Super infectious.
While he was isolated, he escaped.
He said, bye.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. That was not this. That was different episode.
No, I think that was Jelly.
Was it?
It was either Jelly or Slaughter.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to remember which one of these old-timey gangsters it was. I had to go look it up. Which one had been at Leavenworth.
All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you for that story this week, Andrew.
It is my pleasure. So, we're at the end of the show, sort of.
We're at the end of the
We'll call this the post show.
Story.
I call this the post show.
We call this what you looking at and post show, and we chit chat a little bit. We do the story first, so that way, if you don't want this part, you can skip it. But we like to talk at you.
Yeah, if you're just like, I need people talking in my ear.
Here we are.
Yeah, this is an option. First of all, we started a thing. Caitlin has to do these quizzes for Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about this.
They're specifically quizzes for people for their things that are only in the book.
And this is the most difficult Harry Potter quiz I've taken. Some of them are hard, some of them aren't. They're like, very specific.
They're very specific, very obscure, like stuff you wouldn't think anybody would ever remember.
Yes.
Like one time Caitlin gave me a quiz and it was like titled "The Hardest Star Wars Quiz Ever," and I just dominated it because it was easy. It was like the easiest stuff possible. Whereas this is like even if I cared as much about Harry Potter as I do Star Wars, I don't know if I would do very well in this quiz.
They're very specific. Very.
So we are on to book 3.
Okay, I'm ready.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Love it.
First question. First, what name does Harry give Stan when he gets on the night bus? Your options are Ron Weasley, Justin Finch-Fletchley, Neville Longbottom, and Dean Thomas.
Neville,
let's see. You did it. What's your name? Stan persisted.
It has quotes from the book.
Neville Longbottom, said Harry, saying the first name that came into his head. Oh, he thinks of Neville so much. It is his first name. What Diagon Alley shop would Harry sit outside and do his homework while he was staying at the Leaky Cauldron? We've got Flourish and Blots, Florian Fortescue's Ice Cream Parlor. You want me to go ahead and hit that one?
Just give me the other options, but yeah.
Gamble and Japes, and Elop's Owl Emporium.
No.
Would you say Elops or Elops?
I don't know.
It's 2 E's and a Y.
Yeah. It's the ice cream place because he give him free Sundays.
It sure is. Oh, he didn't have to do his homework under blankets by flashlight anymore, according to the thing. How do Hermione, Harry, and Ron find Crookshanks? Which one's Crookshanks?
The cat.
Okay. He jumped on Ron's head at Magical Menagerie. He was roaming around the Leaky Cauldron. He used to belong to Ollivander, or Hermione's parents gave him to her before she left for school.
He jumped on Ron's head.
That's correct. I'll say, I don't think Hermione's parents gave some other man's cat, right? Which one's Crookshanks?
Crookshanks is Hermione's cat.
Oh, okay. What's Filch's cat? Or is it
Mrs.
Filch?
Norris.
Okay, there we go. See, I wouldn't do very good at this.
You suck.
I have read this book. This is the last one I read, but that was that was like a decade and a half ago at least.
I pretty much yearly, I have all the audiobooks and I listen to them almost yearly.
All right. Who isn't in the Hogwarts Express compartment with Harry, Ron, and Hermione when the Dementor attacks? Who is not?
Who is not? Okay.
We've got Ginny, Neville, Lupin, or Fred and George.
Oh my gosh.
Who is not there?
Lupin is. I don't know. Fred and George?
And your other options are Ginny and Neville, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
All right. So you want Fred and George?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're correct.
Okay.
So, okay. What color teacup does Professor Trelawney tell Neville to grab after he breaks his first one? What color? We've got pink, green, yellow, and blue.
Pink?
It seems like pink would be it. Like it's going to be like, haha, you have a girl color, right?
Blue. It's blue.
It's blue?
I don't know.
Pick one.
Oh.
I already clicked, but it doesn't matter.
Did you click?
I clicked one of them, but I'm not telling you which one.
Okay, blue.
You want blue? It's blue.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. When it's
Give me the quote. What's the quote say?
Oh, okay. She caught Neville by the arm as he made to stand up. After you've broken your first cup, would you be so kind as to select one of the blue patterned ones? I'm rather attached to the pink.
That's what. Okay.
They tried to get you there.
They did.
When it's Parvati's turn, what does the boggart turn into? A banshee, a mummy, a zombie, or a snake? Parvati, also the name of a character in Outer Worlds.
A mummy.
Okay. Mummy? It's a mummy. Parvati walked forward, her face set. Snape rounded on her. There was another crack, and where he had stood was a blood-stained, bandaged mummy. There you go.
Okay.
It's mummy. Which portrait replaces the fat lady after she is attacked?
Sir, what's his face?
Okay, we've got Timothy the Timid, Sir Cadogan, Demerrid Doddridge, and nearly headless Nick just guards the door.
Sir whatever.
Cadogan?
Yeah.
Yes.
And his pony.
His fat gray pony, as it says here. How did Sirius Black get into the Gryffindor common room?
I know this.
I think I know this one. I think
do.
I would guess the right thing here. We'll find out. He snuck in when there wasn't a portrait guarding the door. He climbed in through a window. He apparated inside, or he had a list of the passwords.
He had a list of the passwords because Neville dropped them.
There you go. I wouldn't have gotten that.
You didn't? You wouldn't have?
I would have guessed the apparated thing.
You can't apparate in and out of Hogwarts. Don't you know that?
I do now, I guess.
That is like, haven't you ever read Hogwarts: A History? My goodness.
No, but I have.
No, that's what Hermione says. She says that to them to Ron and Harry over and over again, that you can't apparate in and out of Hogwarts.
I guess I don't remember that.
Except Dumbledore, I think can, or maybe it's just in his office, or I don't know.
I don't know. Well, did you know that you can't have a gray Jedi? That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Anyway, where is the secret passage from Hogwarts to Honeydukes hidden? Beneath a cabinet in the teacher's staff room, behind a mirror on the 4th floor, beneath the one-eyed witch statue, or behind the Gregory the Smarmy statue. What a good name. Gregory the Smarmy.
The witch. The
one-eyed witch statue, you're correct. You are correct. Who does Gryffindor beat in order to win the Quidditch final? Slytherin, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or, trick question, they don't win this year.
I don't know. Slytherin. I don't know. I always tuned out for the Quidditch.
It is Slytherin.
Okay.
So there you go. This is one of the things, and maybe this is fixed somewhat in the books, where it just feels like it's like Gryffindor and Slytherin, and yeah, there's a couple other houses. Don't worry about them. They're just like shuffled off to the side.
No, they have. It's just that Gryffindor and Slytherin are the best at Quidditch. So it usually comes down to those two. Yeah.
What is the name of the executioner who comes to deal with Buckbeak?
McNair.
There you go. McNair. How do you stop the Whomping Willow's branches from moving? By stroking the trunk, by pouring water on it, by touching a knot on the trunk. They never stop moving. You just have to run for it.
By touching a knot on the trunk.
Yeah, just touch that knot.
You stroke its trunk.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's not dwell on that.
Okay.
Why was the Shrieking Shack originally built? So Remus would have a place to transform into a werewolf? That makes sense to me. That's what I would guess. Is that what you want?
Well, let me hear the rest of them. I like to know my options.
So the Death Eaters would have a place to torture people near Hogwarts.
Gosh.
Which is like that would be a bad idea.
No.
Don't torture people that close there. So James, Peter, and Sirius could perform the Animagus spell in private. So James, Peter, Remus, and Sirius had a secret hideout only they knew about.
The first one.
That's what I would have guessed, just because it's like, how did he get its name? Probably a werewolf. I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense? I don't know.
Well, it's because they would go and keep Remus company in the Marauders, the former Moony, Padfoot, Wormtail, and Prongs would go and keep Remus company while he transformed in their animagus states, and there would be a lot of howling and noise coming from the shack, and so people were like, "It's haunted. It's a Shrieking Shack."
See, that's why I would have guessed it.
Yeah,
I just been like, why does it have that name? Probably the thing where there's a werewolf hanging out in there, screeching.
Yep, you got it.
How did Sirius finally escape Azkaban? He attacked a Dementor and jumped out a window. He stole Fudge's wand after he came to visit him. He had been digging a tunnel out of his cell for 12 years, like it's Shawshank. He transformed into a dog and slipped past the Dementors.
The dog.
The dog one? It's the dog one. What charm does Snape claim Sirius used on Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and that's why they attacked him? We've got Arresto Momentum, a Confundus charm.
Maybe. Let me hear the rest.
A Containment charm, or an Eradication spell. Confundus. Yeah. To judge by their behavior. They seem to think there was a possibility he was innocent. Unbelievable. Who could believe such a thing? And finally, what gift does Sirius send to Harry after he helps him escape? A firebolt broom, a picture of Sirius, James, and Lily, a signed Hogsmeade permission slip, or one of Buckbeak's feathers.
Hogsmeade permission slip.
There you go. So
I got 100%.
You got 100%.
Wow.
You know this book better than the other books, apparently.
I do.
And thus concludes this week's quiz time.
for Harry Potter. Man, I love it. I love trivia so much.
Oh, have you been playing Wordle like everybody else?
No, I'm not in. I never. No. When I see things like that.
Because you're bad at words?
No, I think I'm pretty good with words.
You don't have to share it. I don't share it ever. I only shared it once because it was like I got it on the last one. Yeah. Like just barely. It was like. Yeah.
No, I don't. I just don't.
I feel like that, or if you get it within 2, that's like you can share it then.
I don't do the Wordles. I'm just. I don't know. I see it like that stuff on Facebook, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
I mean, I do it every day. But you can only do it once a day, so I was like,
"Oh, that's it."
Yeah, it's part of the thing.
Okay.
So I don't know. You want to talk about what we've been doing? What we've been looking at?
Yeah.
Right.
I will say, we timed our recordings very well because I've been violently ill the past 2 weeks. So we release episodes. We changed it. We release episodes every other week now. And so it was a Monday. Andrew and I recorded. I was feeling, fine. I kind of had some tummy upset that night. And then the next day, all day, I kind of was like, things were kind of messed up. I was like, must have been something I ate. And mostly I felt fine. Just had some GI issues. And then then the next day came and I was like, I had no appetite. I felt sick to my stomach. I was nauseated. I was still having GI problems. I was like, something's not right. Turns out I have a horrible, horrible infection to get, especially post-colon resection. And it's an infection called C. diff. Look it up. If you don't know about it, it's literally the worst thing ever. I don't know how I got it. They think that maybe the person in the room before me had it, and maybe the room didn't get cleaned well enough, and then I got it while I was in the hospital. And it takes a little bit of time to, kind of incubate. But it was literally the worst experience, one of the worst experiences of my life. I would rather have 10 other surgeries again than have C. diff again. It was horribly painful. I couldn't eat or drink. I had to go back to the hospital. It was awful. It was so bad. I'm still having to take medicine for it. It's bad. It's bad. It is bad. I was so miserable. I was in so much pain. It was so bad.
It sounds like it.
It was awful. Andrew sent me a text message and I told him I was sick with it. And you're like, according to the CDC.
Yeah, I went to the CDC site because Caitlin's like, just Google it. Yeah. I don't have time for this.
I didn't. I'm
busy dealing with a thing.
If you don't know what it is, Google it because it is not fun. And when I would have patients that have it's very contagious. Mostly for kind of immunocompromised people. Like for a normal everyday person that brushes with it, probably not. But it's pretty contagious. And so people that have it are on isolation precautions in the hospital. And so I'm having to sleep separately. I'm having to sleep on my own. I'm having to use my own bathroom. And I have my bathroom. John has his bathroom. And I just have to move everything in there. It was awful. It was so bad. I could barely move. And I was like, I'm going to get blood clots. I'm going to get pneumonia because I was doing better from my surgery. I was getting up and moving around and feeling pretty good. I was eating good and everything was going good. And then this really knocked me down. I was like, and I had to go back to the hospital. It was awful. It was so bad. So bad. But I didn't know it caused so much pain. I was in so much pain. And when I've had patients that's had it before,
you're just like, suck it up, Buttercup. Gosh, it's not that bad.
I was like, it's just diarrhea. What's it matter? Nope, it's not. It is awful.
I hope you learned an important lesson in empathy.
I did. God was like, I'm gonna knock you down.
This is like how I used to always get migraines.
Yeah.
And we had an employee when I worked at the Chick-fil-A that would get migraines a lot. Mm-hmm. And other people were like, it's just a headache. Take some Tylenol. I was like, y'all don't understand. It's really not. It's totally different.
Yeah.
It's a way bigger issue.
You've had some problems like that with you had the seizures and the migraines and stuff.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next point. Kombucha. I'm doing the kombucha.
Caitlin's a hipster now.
Andrew said, is that an Australian thing? No, it is not.
Because I listened to an Australian podcast and they mentioned one of the people on there drinking kombucha a lot.
It is a fermented tea. It uses, it's called so you make the tea. I'm assuming this is how it goes. I've never made my own kombucha, but a lot of people do. you make the tea, you brew the tea. It can be flavored tea, black tea, green tea, whatever. And then you put this thing in there that looks like a hunk of fat, and it's called a SCOBY, which stands for a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. Ugh.
It looks like a hockey puck made out of fat.
Yeah, it does, literally. And you put that in the tea for, I don't know, however long it takes to ferment. It looks disgusting. It looks like a jellyfish fat grossness.
It's like when they punched that hole out of that guy in Kung Pao.
Don't have no idea what you're talking about.
It looks like that.
It looks disgusting, but that's how you make kombucha. It's fermented, but the whole point of that is that there's a lot of really good probiotics in there. Because I was looking at ways, because C. diff is very difficult to get over, and I was on a lot of antibiotics this past year for the diverticulitis that I was in and out of the hospital for. And that really apparently knocked the good bacteria in my gut down a lot because they were strong antibiotics. And I was 5 days in the hospital getting antibiotics every 6 hours IV, which is really strong and messes with you. So that might have had something to do with me developing this infection. But anyways, I was looking at ways to heal your gut, and it was like fermented things, kimchi, sauerkraut. And I was like,
have Boba Fett find you in the desert, and he takes you to some people who give you robot guts, like happened to Fennec Shand.
I would appreciate that, because that means they would always work. That would be great.
I mean, in the way that machines always work, I guess.
I mean, you could tune it up and it's fine. I mean, just do a little tune. Oh, that would be so great. That would be amazing. But kombucha, sauerkraut, kimchi, even pickles.
Is this why you were asking me about kimchi? That was a long time ago, so probably not.
No. I was just asking about it. But those are really good to build good bacteria in your gut to fight off things like that. So I've been like, I got this giant box of probiotics, and I'm pounding probiotics, and I got kombucha, and I've had it before, and I tried it, and I was like, this is nasty. It tastes vinegary to me. Like, it's definitely weird, but I had some friends point me in the direction of some good flavored ones. They're not, even the flavored ones, they're not high in sugar or calories at all. It's because of the fermentation. It gets eaten up. The sugar gets eaten up. So it's all been pretty interesting to learn about. But kombucha, it's really good for you apparently, but don't drink the whole bottle because that's over the recommended daily amount of kombucha. Drink about half.
Okay.
So
that's weird.
I know, isn't it?
Don't make a bottle that big then. How about that?
Or it can just drink half and it'll last you a little bit longer.
All right, I guess.
It has naturally occurring alcohols in it. So if you are pregnant or cannot drink alcohol, do not drink kombucha. But it's like very, very small amount just because of the fermentation. But try it. Actually, I have some in the fridge. I'm going to let Andrew try some after the episode.
Okay. So, all right. First of all, how many Star Wars is?
1.
It's 1. It's Book of Boba Fett.
You liking it?
Not really. It's kind of meh.
That's what John was like. You want to watch it? I was like, not really.
There's a scene where they have this chase through the little city.
I know what you're talking about.
Have you seen it?
I saw it
so bad.
I saw it on TikTok today.
Because it's not just like they're driving these little space Vespas that look kind of weird and bad, but whatever.
It's slow.
But it's slow. It looks like they're driving like 20 miles per hour. I don't know what's up with that.
Somebody said they were driving 5, and I was like, oh my God.
It looks very slow. It's like a slow speed chase. There's nothing compelling about that.
Not fun.
I don't know. There's like 3 episodes left. They have a chance to potentially salvage it, but it's overall kind of blah to me.
Yeah.
What you got? You do one.
I have watched The Eternals. It's on Disney Plus right now.
How'd you like it?
Everybody was talking crap about it, but
yeah.
I thought it was fine. I give it on the scale. What does it go? SSS ABC?
Like S plus, whatever you want. Honestly, I've done like stars. I've done out of 10. You can do whatever scale you want.
Okay, stars. We're doing stars then. Out of 5, I give it a 3. It was good. I like the characters.
I still haven't watched it or Shang-Chi.
I like Shang-Chi better.
The closest I've gotten is I watched a YouTube video by a guy named a channel called Nerd Sync. Sync spelled SYNC. It's a really good video, and it's about the creation of the Eternals, like in the original comics, and how it was based off like ancient alien theory stuff.
Oh,
which would probably make sense if you like, because they're like, yeah,
makes sense.
And it's like very specific to like the chariots of the gods and all that. And then he also started doing a podcast called It's Probably Not Aliens. And I've actually been listening to that. It's pretty good. They dive into like ancient alien stuff and talk about it.
I did see a lot of stuff. It seems like it pops up after you watch it. It was like the Eternals really could have used your help with some stuff, but like their thing is that they don't interfere with human stuff unless it has to do with this one particular bad stuff. The
deviants or whatever.
Yeah, the variants. Yeah, the deviants, not variants.
Variants
that
is a different
Loki mixed up.
I don't know. You have anything else to say about that?
No, I think that's it on the Eternals. It was good. You should watch it.
I watched a different comic book thing.
Tell me.
I started Peacemaker.
How'd you like it?
I really like it so far. So far, they've done 4 episodes. They're doing weekly. HBO Max weekly? Every Thursday.
Been out for 4 weeks?
No, they did the first 3 in one batch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, weird. It just came out.
I like it a lot, but that's because I'm a cool guy who liked the Suicide Squad.
You did like that.
Hey, Caitlin did not, so I would not recommend the show to her. Yeah. But if you liked that Suicide Squad movie, the latest one, that was the good one. Yeah. Then I'd say watch this show. Sometimes they have inane conversations, and it's like a bit much sometimes. Like, we get it, James Gunn. You're talking about Berenstein Bears or whatever. It's fine. We don't need to do this 2 to 3 times every episode. Gotcha. Once every 2 episodes is fine. I don't know. Okay. It gets to be a bit much, and it's like, yeah, get on with it or whatever. This isn't doing it for you, but I like it a lot overall. Okay. John Cena, he really goes for it.
He's goofy.
He really goes for it, man. But yeah, it is a hard R show. So, kind of like the Suicide Squad was.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. So James Gunn's wife is in the show.
Yes, she's one of the agents.
She's had a lot of plastic surgery.
Just like me.
Yeah.
That's why I look so good.
Yeah.
And why my lips are so full.
Yeah. So pretty.
What you got left?
Just that I watched a new show on Netflix. It looks to be pretty new.
Oh, yeah?
It's called Archive 81.
I've heard of that. I saw it pop up on the thing, yeah.
It was weird.
What is it? They find like a thing or something? I don't remember already.
I don't want to spoil anything.
What's the premise that it shows on Netflix? Like what's...
Oh, heck, I don't know. Basically, this girl goes to... I thought it was New York, but I don't think it is. It looks New York-y, but I don't think it is. She goes to this big city looking for her birth mom, who the last known address was at this one particular apartment building called the Visser. And anyways, she's making a documentary with her own camcorder. She's interviewing these people of the building. This
based on a podcast.
Yes, it is. Of the same name, I believe.
I think I've listened to parts of this podcast.
Have you?
Maybe.
And there's something about a demon in there, and that's where it lost me. It gets really weird.
Is it, they're like archiving a bunch of stuff and listening to tapes or something?
Yeah, a dude is, yeah.
I think I have listened to part of this podcast
there
at least.
There may be time travel involved in there.
I don't remember if that's what it was, but I think it might have been the same podcast forever ago.
I bet it is.
I didn't stick with it for whatever reason. Who knows why, but yeah.
Well, listen to the podcast and then watch the show and tell me how it is.
I might. I listened to, there have been like a bunch of shows that have been like based on podcasts. Uh-huh. There's Limetown, which became a Facebook show.
What the heck is that?
But like the first season of Limetown was really good on the podcast, but the second was real dumb and bad. I think I may have talked about it on this show at some point. And there was Homecoming, which I think had Julia Roberts on the show.
Yes.
But it had David Schwimmer, I think, was in the podcast as a character. Anyway, yeah, I might check that out. Yeah. But that's really weird. It's like unlocked a memory I forgot I had.
Yeah, listen to the podcast. Tell me. Yes, it is based off a podcast. I do remember reading that. I believe it's called Archive 81 as well.
I swear I must have at least. I think there was a point in time where I was trying to find all the like drama podcasts because I got really into a couple and I was like, I'm going to find the next one. Never did. Gotcha. And just kind of fell off and fell back into podcasts that are like just people yapping.
Which one did you like? Which story podcast did you like the most?
My favorite one so far has probably been the Black Tapes, which is where it's It's like ghost story stuff, and they investigate. It's a
Is it-
docudrama. It's done almost like they're like NPR reporters, but they're not, obviously. It has a really bad ending.
It's not based off anything real.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
And those same people did one called Tanis. That's pretty good. They did Rabbits, which was okay.
I see that.
Last Movie, which is pretty good too. And Tanis, I think,
that one? Okay.
And I think Tanis ended up becoming like Stitcher Premium, so I fell off of that for that reason.
It looks like it's on.
Black Tapes, yeah, there's some of it still there, but like I think it was like the third season was Stitcher Premium exclusive.
Ugh,
I was like,
don't do that.
Black Tapes is over. It ended poorly, I think, but overall I like it. That's where I first learned about Baba Yaga, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple of YouTube things.
I'm looking up archive. I may listen to it because I'm always looking for things to listen to. It was kind of creepy. Like it got creepy for me.
Yeah.
So
I've forgotten most of what happened in it.
they're up to season 3. So I guess I get to find out what happens because it ends on a cliffhanger. The show ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah. The Limetown, that one, like the season 1 of the podcast ends on a cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. And then season 2 like goes off in a different direction. And apparently it's because the actual creators went and worked on the TV show instead. And nobody liked the TV show, though, so that got canceled, too.
I hate that.
Couple of YouTube things I want to recommend. Okay. One is a channel called No Clip. It's done by a guy named Danny O'Dwyer. Mm-hmm. He's actually Irish.
O'Dwyer.
Yeah.
Danny O'Dwyer.
He's from Ireland. He lives in, like, Oakland now, but, you know.
That's unfortunate.
He does these video game documentaries that are, like, really well-produced. I watched one recently about DMA Design, who you may remember as the people who invented Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, okay.
And it talks about how they started off. They were like this like small team. They're based in in Dundee, Scotland, which is not a big town, and that's where like they got their start, is like making stuff. It's really interesting, and he has a bunch of other stuff that's really cool that he did. That's worth watching. I was just thinking, I have one drama audio podcast that I've listened to. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be good because it has, I'm blanking on his name. He's in Stranger Things. He plays the cop dad. Oh, Harbour. David Harbour. Yeah. Yeah. David Harbour's in it. And did you ever watch The Walking Dead? Yeah, I watched 4 seasons. Like the first season, that's it. But the mom of the kid, the kid that becomes one-eyed. Yeah, I can't think of her name. And I was thinking about her because I listened to a podcast where they talked about the show Colony, which she is on. Oh. Along with Sawyer from Lost. And I also watched a YouTube video about Lost recently. I love Lost. The top 5 favorite shows of all time. It's really good. And I just want to say, if you're a hater of Lost, it's because you probably didn't watch it. Or if you did, that's fine. But also, most importantly, they weren't in purgatory. You're dumb if you think that. There's a lot of people who are like, they said it wasn't in purgatory and then it was in purgatory. It's like, no, that's not what it was. You're idiots, or you heard somebody who lied to you. And that's all I'm going to say about the ending of Lost. You're all wrong. Go watch. You say it's about purgatory. We had a friend in college, Ben Nicer. Remember him? Yeah. Yeah. We would do a Lost recap every week on Lost parties, and he was really into Lost and Lost debates, and it was good stuff. That was a good show. It was a great show. It's underrated, and yeah. I understand why people got upset about it. It's a lot easier, especially for like the way you watched it the first time with streaming. You got to go you didn't have to go like 1 week and go, what the flip? Yeah. I got to wait a whole week for this. I got to basically binge it all up until the last season, and then by the time I got to the last season, it was basically getting ready to premiere on TV in the next couple weeks. And then those last few seasons were short too, compared to the other ones. They weren't doing 24 episodes or whatever. Long, and they're long episodes. So, last thing, another YouTube thing I want to recommend. Is there's a channel called Folding Ideas. I've recommended them before. Mm-hmm. They had a video called In Search of a Flat Earth, which is incredible. He's done another one that is like the seminal work on this like weird thing that's happening called The Problem with NFTs. And it goes into all the crypto stuff, what it is, how it works, the problems with it, the culture surrounding it, and like the toxic culture surrounding it. It's a really great video. I highly recommend it. And anything else on his channel is also really good. Especially the Flat Earth one is really good.
Mm-hmm. A YouTube channel I would like to recommend, Andrew.
Yeah?
Is our own. We have a YouTube channel.
We do technically have that.
We don't post any visual stuff. It's all audio. It's just our podcast.
Yeah. Some people like that, so it's there.
Yeah.
We get a couple views every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's
about it. I'm going to go back. I started playing Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
I want to save. I love the lore. You know how like Skyrim and stuff, you can read books and it's like, oh, this lore is so interesting and weird and crazy. Mass Effect is more upfront with it. They have like just a section like after you talk to like a certain species, it's like, this is what the deal is with the Krogans and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so, and it's narrated by some guy who has I think he did the narration on like Medal of Honor and the Gundam Wing commercial and some other stuff. He's done voice acting stuff. But I'm really loving the lore dumps in there where it's like, yeah, and then I do like that. They invented a mutation so that species couldn't reproduce as quickly anymore. Only 1 in 1,000 births are viable. It's messed up.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Maybe if I remember, I'll tell you like the full story next week. I'll just save it up.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been thinking in my head like how I would recount this whole lore dump, and it's like this would take a while.
Yeah. So
we'll save that for another time, maybe. But until then.
And just one more thing, just another little reminder here. In case you don't know, which I think most people do, you can order 4 free COVID tests from the United States Postal Service. Unfortunately, it is only 4 per household, which is kind of lame because people in England get 7 a day if they want it. But it is whatever. Okay, we at least get 4.
The good news is our birth rate is going down, so the households are smaller.
That's right. But so it's like me and John get 2. We better really save them until we feel real bad. But they're at-home COVID tests. You can do it from the United States, USPS.com. You can do that. So it's free. You just sign up and they'll just send it in your mailbox at the end of this month. Also, it's tax season. Do your taxes.
Hooray.
Yay. This is really fun. This is Government Reminder Corner.
And be sure to rat out your friends for $10.
That's right. And if you don't want to do that, then you can visit us on Facebook at Paint the Town Dead. You can visit us on Instagram at Paint the Town Dead, all one word. Visit us on Twitter at PTTDpod. Email us at pttdpod@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe on anything you can. Rate 5 stars anything you can. Like anything you can. Share anything you can. Comment. Send us messages. Whatever you want to do. We like interacting with you guys. But anyways, until next time, till our next Harry Potter quiz. Hope you have a wonderful.
That'll be Goblet of Fire. Is that the 4th one?
My favorite book.
Okay.
It's big. Listen, you know what I'm going to do?
Big talk.
You know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'm listening to the audiobook in the meantime.
All right. You said you're going to do that for the other ones, I think.
But I got 100 on Azkaban.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Goblet of Fire, 100%. We're going for it again.
Go for it.
All right, guys. Have a good couple of weeks. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Happy Fortnite.